everybody knew what a downwinder was. We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
Well, good morning, all you guys out there. Hope everybody's awake. Folded up in their dogma snuggies. Let's see if you guys we can get right real about some reality. Obama's trip to Japan. We're going to talk a lot about cancer today. We're talking a lot about cancer. We're going to talk about early diagnosis. We're going to talk about nuclear fallout and its relationship with cancer. Preventive medicine, somewhat, but too late for so much of that. We're going to talk about the diagnosis. We're going to talk about the medical industry. We're going to talk about the path of trying to survive cancer. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, but first off, Obama, I don't know if anybody got to see the press conference with he and Abe over there. He's been there for a few days, and from what I understand, I don't know. I haven't seen anything where they even took questions. I haven't heard one peep about Fukushima. Not one peep. Now, we know Abe has been spouting off like the IAEA monkey puppet fuck that he is. Being controlled by them telling, TEPCO's got, we've heard him from him, TEPCO's had it all handled the whole time. This guy is getting ready to fucking pass the 1944 emperor as the fucking grotesquest mass murdering fucking lie in Japanese history. Let's go back to the former prime minister. Oh, he was propped up by him too. Oh, he's an anti-nuclear activist now. Gregory Jaco, head of the Nuclear Regulatory Committee when Fukushima happened. They're friends now. They were touring around anti-nuclear activism until they got talked to. They went and got threatened. You don't hear nothing out of them anymore, do you? You don't hear anything out of anybody anymore. The anti-nuclear activists, because they're squashed down, they do one of two things. They come to you, like the Al-Gore thesis or whatever, they'll say, hey, shut the fuck up. We'll either make you rich or shut the fuck up or we will kill you. That's what goes on. That's exactly what goes on. So, here we go. I'm just picking up a little special guest I got. I just walking up to the door now. Got to go get this little guy. Here he is. So I got to watch my language now. I got a little 3-year-old baby Kev with me today. He was born just days after Fukushima. Here he is. Hi, little Fukushima. This little guy was born literally days after Fukushima happened. He knows what Fukushima is, and I didn't have to teach the little guy anything. My other grandson, a week apart, it's amazing, my granddaughter, the food chain that they like to eat. No one's had to teach them. You bring them strawberries, blackberries, carrot juice, they go crazy over it. Okay. All right, hold on. So, anyway, we're going to talk about this as far as you think about the greatest environmental catastrophe in human history. In human history. The greatest one ever. Obama's over there, and he doesn't say a word about it. Now, remember when Hillary was running the campaign ads against him in the primaries? She was running the campaign. He's popped up by the nuclear industry, Exelon in Illinois. Well, they come right out and say, we're getting out of the nuclear industry in the conference call. It's not profitable to us anymore. It never was profitable, but the military-industrial complex, they're going to stay in. They're all in. Because it become the industry, it is the culture, it is the propped-up, grotesque, sickening Manhattan Project gone amok. It never stopped. It's just like WHIP down there at Carlsbad. Oh, we can't shut it down. That's $5 billion to our economy. Can't be shut down. We shut all our jobs to China, so you people, yeah, we're going to kill you. Your job will kill you, but you got to have a job. You got to eat. Here you go. No, we can't shut them down. Talk about cancer. You know, he wants to be, you know, the sad thing about it, I call him Uncle Tom Obama, you know, and don't get me wrong, I hate the far-right neocon freaking lunatics even worse. What Bush did, what Cheney, whatever, the teabaggers, I'll tell you what, I had it with the teabaggers, completely done. I would have been done with them lunatics for a long time, but when they threw all in with Hannity and known Warren Jeff's partner, pedophilia, welfare queen whore on Balco, Bundy down there, that shows and proves the mental illness, the ignorance of these lunatics. Gone. So, he's over there, not a peep, not a word. Really? You know, we have hope for Caroline over there. Her father was anti-nuclear, the only one that ever stood up to the nuclear cartel. You know, this thing has gone crazy since the Manhattan Project, and it never stopped. It's become a sickening, grotesque cash cow. Has it evolved in eugenics? Well, I'll be in Berkeley protesting. My show will probably be live next Tuesday from the campus of Berkeley, Eugenics University. And if you think I'm crazy on this, you type in John Holdren. John Holdren, that's the guy running the cleanup of so-called cleanup of Fukushima. The 32-team environmental panel who was given the keys to Fukushima. Type him in. Yep. He's written books on eugenics. He's a big, passionate guy about overpopulation. And you think about this. Was 3/11 cause? Hell no. It was an earthquake. They happen. Tsunamis and earthquakes always happen. Boy, are they taking it back? I don't know. My personal opinion, I don't think they have a clue. TEPCO's words, I think, is America's words. We're relying on unyet developed technologies. There you go. You know, Ronald Reagan made that quote way, way back when he was so senile. He had Alzheimer's so bad. You could store all the nuclear waste from 1 year of a nuclear reactor under a desk. Well, that's one fucking big desk, and let's see, we have 104 nuclear reactors, which really is 252 because of all the secret ones, and we're talking 60 fucking years. I was with the group that got San Onofre shut down. What does it fucking matter if we got to shut down? Is that fuel stored on site? Some guy called me yesterday, says you can't freaking decommission, turn this off. Really? Again, the ignorance of America. You know how many fucking nuclear reactors we've decommissioned in history? Fuck yes, we can. The waste? Yeah. I used to argue with Alison McFarland. Dry cast it? No, dry cast it doesn't work. We know that's a joke. Technology? Oh, we have nanotechnology to clean it up? No, we don't. We don't have nanotechnology to clean it up. And all these liars that keep coming, I've been hearing that for 40 fucking years. Put it in, yuck them out. Oh, we ain't gonna do that. Harry Reid's blocked that. Oh, yeah. Another freaking crooked Mormon like Bundy down there. Shoot it into space? Yep, that's the only answer. Should have been done a long time ago. Stop making more? Hell yes. Fukushima is not contained. It is not even one iota contained. It's been dumping into the Pacific genocide is very, very real. I'm talking about my cancers. I went crazy. I've been an anti-nuclear for years and years. I understand the thesis. I always have understood the thesis. I know how grotesque. It is the definition of arrogance. It's passing on to the next generation. We'll hypothesize the next generation. Gorbachev said it so well in the Battle of Chernobyl. Yeah, we're going to clean it up the next generation, but we want broke. Next generation ain't going to clean it up. Nobody's going to clean it up. This one, the baby boomers, hell, they can't even clean up their own freaking debt structure, let alone freaking handle nuclear fallout. $17 trillion in debt. Blew the freaking goodwill. Blew the equity that their parents left them. Just blew it. Now they've stole not their kids, and nuclear, oh, fuck that. You know, so, oh, it can't happen to me. I'm not going to get cancer. I won't get cancer. I can't get cancer. Well, I went crazy. It's going to give you leukemia. It's going to give you leukemia. It's going to give you leukemia. As you know, in October of 2011, I thought I had food poisoning. It was brutal. It was horrible. It was epic pain. I mean, I'm a tough guy. It's horrible. Went to the emergency room here at McQuack-D. I'm right over here by McQuack-D. The KD in Ogden, Utah is the worst hospital in the United States of America. $1.4 billion. It has a culture of death. They are fucking malpractice as fucking scumbags that ever lived. There's several doctors in there. I told my attorney, they better hope I don't live, because I'll do the time first. If I run into them, I'm going to drop them like a bag of fucking dirt. Send me home. Go back. Send me home again. So much pain. Go back a day later. Finally CAT scan me, chuck full of tumors down my lower right mesentery. Admit me in the hospital on a Friday afternoon, which most cancer diagnoses happen on Friday. I can get into that, why that happens. They come right into my room, says it's carcinoid cancer, it's metastasized to your liver, you'll be dead in 2 months. Just like that. All by himself, just like I'm going to the surreal state. What? You know, so, no, there's some punk-ass doctor comes in and starts telling me about, oh, yeah, my wife was given 2 months to live, stage 5 breast cancer, and she used to cry at night. Finally, she just said, oh, just enjoy it. Wait, what? What? I see that motherfucker. I will knock the fuck out of him. It's outrageous. So it went on and on and on. Well, finally, they scoped me. Says, oh, it's an ulcer. I'm losing 6, 7, 8 pounds a day. This goes on. Go down to Huntsman, which is supposed to be the best medical center in the world. Joke. As our hospital says, you want to eat the good food, stay in the hotel, go there. You want to live, come here. Go there. They're still trying to sue me for $1,400 for a phone call. They're a scam. Oh, John Huntsman. Huntsman Chemical. Oh, yeah. Give you cancer. Benzene polluters, 357 new benzene plants around the country. There goes their helicopter right now. That's McQuack-D's helicopter right now. Going to freaking get somebody. Hope the ETMs can save their lives, because once they get in there, they'll kill them. That's what we're up against in this country. Finally, an old Danish philosopher, old, who knew me, who knows my uncles. My uncle was a famous old heart surgeon. My last name, he knew of me. He knew my anti-nuclear thesis. His brother and father had both died of thyroid cancer. He put the work in. They had done it, went inside me and got a piece of this out of one of the tumors in me. Guy named Silverman. Arrogant fucking punk. Claims to be this incredible pathologist. Went in to see the surgeon. He says, your only hope, we got to gut you. We're going to cut you from ear to ear, young, arrogant, another punk. I'm like, no, you're not doing that to me. You know, it was lit up, blinking, flashing, going crazy. I'm arguing, how do you know it's this? You know, they won't even talk to me. Finally, Vincent's like, I'm glad, next day, he says, I'm glad you didn't have that surgery. And he was really concerned. He said, I'm going to put some work in this, Kevin. I'm going to get back to you tomorrow. From what I understand, he called the pathologist, had heated arguments. Make a long story short, the pathologist had dipped it in the wrong solution. Totally misdiagnosed. I had hypothesis, found a YouTube video, and I knew so much path, I knew that leukemia could present in tumors. Most people don't believe that. When it does, it's usually brutal. It's usually death sentence. The misdiagnosis is what kills people. Well, there's a guy named Brian Morris who had the same thing 5 years ago. Had the surgery. Now, you have the surgery, what happens, then they realize that it's a leukemia tumor and they're extremely, extremely radical. They're free radicals. They can take up 33% of your body mass in less than a week, in days. That's what they were doing to me. They kill you fast. It's hardcore, extremely. It will kill you very, very fast. I went from 170 to 130 in 3 weeks. I was critical. Finally, he says, I'm going to bone marrow biopsy you, Kevin. Goes in there. He's like, oh, my God, you may have just saved your life. Get down to LDS Bone Marrow Transplant Center on 11/11/11. 3/11. So I got a big thing with 11. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no, I'm going to die. He says, no. He says, I have hope for you, Kevin. You're strong. This is a brutal, radical cancer that's in your body. This is the best leukemia unit in the world. You get down there. So I went in there. It was horrible. I went into surreal state. I was in a surreal state already. It was a horrible, horrible gig. I went in there. They put a stent in my spine, in my brainstem, in my jugular vein. I'm begging. I'm so got these tumors wrapped up around my lower bowel. I'm in so much pain. I'm in good shape anyway. But I remember the doctor said, we can't even get through your stomach muscles. I said, yeah, they've been contracting for a month nonstop. I mean, this pain was so epic. It was incredible. I'm like, get the chemo. Will the chemo eat the tumors? Yeah. So that finally, I couldn't have a bowel movement. What for days and days and days in there. I'm so critical. I'm what they call red 10. They rank them from 1 to 10. And Celeste, the secretary, says, you're the only red 10 I ever seen walk out of here. I was so sick. I was so critical, but I'm like, this pain, I can't handle the pain anymore. And I'm a tough guy. So, will the chemo eat the tumors? Yeah. It might eat everything else. It's a desperate situation. So get it in me. Get it in me now. Well, they got it in me. So finally they had to bring in a GI. He comes in. And he's like, what? McClack, he didn't restrict your diet? Yet no. Oh, my God. If your bowel is even ripped, it even has a tiny hole, you're done. You know that. Yeah. So they give them suppositories. They're praying. You know, I can't. They're freaking out. They're panicking because of these malpractice quacks here. They don't give a fuck. So they dig in and they dig in and they dig in. Finally, I have bowel movement after 2 weeks. And they're like, God, Kevin, you got tough guts. I don't think it ripped. But so I went through the heavy, my YouTube site, some of it, you can see videos when I do no justice. Going in and out of a coma, so critical, so brutal. I mean, it's a Hail Mary. I mean, I'm dying. Everybody in there's dying. They take the hardest of cases. It's a whole team philosophy, medicine. Great doctors. I had a dream before I got sick. This utopic dream about these tumors on a slot machine. And they're like, you hang on to that dream. And I did. I clung in there. I clung to life. I mean, clung because I didn't want to die. And I fought. And I come out of it and went through the cycle. I never laid down. I hiked intensely. My diet, shit. I didn't have a diet. I went without food for a long, long time. You can only go without food for a very short period of time. A lot of people don't understand that. You just don't enter your stomach. So I lived on, you know, they had me on the bag, you know, going into my central line. Had 23 things hanging off that tree at one time. They'll basically kill you. Hundreds of blood transfusions. Burned the pigment out of my eyes. Blisters on my tongue. Shriveled up to nothing. Couldn't even stand up. Take your blood every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's an ICU unit from hell in there. Giant tubes go down to a special blood spinner. A pharmacist who just works on you. You know, there's only 33 beds in there. I mean, you're quarantined. Neutrophils to 0. Freaking had 2 staph infections in my line. Have to come in and culture the staph infections. If you've ever seen that process those nurses go through, they're little mini bottles that look like Tabasco bottles. 27 of them, individually cultured, one after another. Giant vials of blood drawn out of you at 3:30 in the morning. They argue your case. They want another piece. Didn't dare go in because that's how sick you are. And if you ever have tumors in your body, don't let them just start poking them. Don't let them open you. And we know now, people that have unnecessary surgery or surgery. I was scheduled for surgery 2 days ago for my gallbladder. And this guy these surgeons are salesmen. I've realized they're nothing but salesmen. The car salesman. Oh, you got to have it. I'm like, what do you mean I got to have a wife? It's not infected. My other doctor said it wasn't infected. You guys said it was infected at first. It's not infected. You know, I can do it alternative ways. oh, well, what happens? And I said, no. Because what happens if you have surgery, you got any cancer cells in there, which so many of us do from Fukushima, they're set free. And when they set free, and I love all the alternative people say, these aren't chronic diseases. These are very acute diseases. Oh, go smoke some weed, eat some apricot seeds, do this, you're full of fucking shit. These are hardcore, brutal, radical, fucking intense fucking killer cells. These killer cells hide in your spine, up behind your eyes, up in your brainstem. They are killing you, and they kill you so fast. This is so radical and so hardcore and so intense, and that's how people die. That's how people die. It's way too late for any of that stuff. Now, when you get into a chronic situation, try it all. Go for it. Everyone's going to get their turn. Well, PET scans, CAT scans, the only way they can do it, bone marrow biopsies. They get up on the back of your hip, and they drill into your hip. And they, with a hook, they go in there, and they have she's a little Chinese gal in there. She's supposedly the best in the country. She goes right in the room, and they do the smears right in the room immediately. It's the only way they can really, really know for sure. And the PET scans, I don't know if you ever had a PET scan. They're crazy. So you full of that freaking cocktail, and you make you all squirrely and go in there, and they, the glucose lights up any cancer cell in your body. But they're full of radiation. The CAT scans are full of radiation. And I made the choice a year and a half ago. I couldn't handle the bone marrow biopsies anymore. I couldn't handle them. They're brutal. They're brutal. Up on your back, digging into your bone marrow. Yeah, it hurts big time, but it's much more than that. Waiting for the results is beyond torture. It's beyond waterboarding. It's life or death. And you go for 24, 48 hours. I was right here, April 24th. 2012, waiting for the results. I remember I was just so sad. I was here at Glassman's Pond, but by the hospital, waiting to head down there, waiting for the results, and no calls back, and scheduled for the bone marrow transplant. They know I'm not responding well. They know that my blood's not coming back, and, it looks like, I'm probably going to die. And I call in there, no, the doctor wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, God. No call back, no. I'm panicked. And finally, the doctor calls, and you can hear her voice. She's cracking up. And these doctors are good at that. They don't crack up. Kevin, I think you got a miracle. We see a little stimulus finally in there. There's a little stimulus. It's tiny. But we want to talk to you. So back in the hospital, Kevin, it's always been the traditional way to go through 5 cycles of this. You've been through 3, and your body won't respond. Your body can't handle any more cycles of RCM squared. RCM squared is the hardcore, brutal freaking leukemia you can possibly have. It's into your jugular vein that kills every cell in your body, and they keep you alive on transfusions, hanging on a tree. It's an ICU unit. It's intensive care from hell. Are you interested in maybe taking another path without a bone marrow transplant? There's a guy named Brian Morris 5 years ago who had the surgery. They had the ice bathing, 104 temperatures. I've gotten to be friends with him. We're patterning your treatment after his treatment. He's alive. We think maybe we've come on to something, that there's something about this disease that maybe you can do it the way he did it. And I says, yeah, I'm interested. So I had to make the choice, because bone marrow transplants work on anywhere from 30 to 50% of people. Well, 20, 50. But if they don't work, it's over. They start prepping you for death. I wasn't willing to take that, so I took the other path. Well, they're afraid to give me radiation through a CAT scan, so we haven't CAT scanned in well over 18 months. It's the only way we know. I got sick again last week. Really hardcore. Same way, in the stomach. It wasn't as intense, but it was bad, and I panicked. I thought, it's back. Because it comes back on the majority of people, and when it comes back, Paul, Carl, all my close friends, my whole group, one of my lifelong best friends got it the same time I did. Paul, you got to watch his walk. His comments are all over my YouTube. Dana, we got to go in our room. A whole group of us right after Fukushima here. Huge group of us, Gail. They're all dead. They came back on them all and killed them all. I'm the last of the Mohicans. It's down to me. So the doctors are like, Kevin, you're far away enough. Your counts are getting stronger. Finally, I was walking around doing the activism with platelet counts at 30. You know how insane that is? I didn't care. I just went. When I was down there on the Santa Opera, shut down in critical condition. A lot of people didn't know this. A lot of things, I still had my central line hanging out of me for a lot of it. I kept it covered up. So they CAT scanned me. I said, it's time. In the middle of the night, calling doctors in. Doctors are coming in the middle of the night because their culture at that hospital, and the Mormon Church does not own it. They have a beautiful culture of people that care. They have medical file sharing. They talk among each other. They debate among each other. The nurses have input. The young kid who does the pancreatic test, the heavy pancreatic test, he has a huge input. I mean, they listen to everybody. They listen to the maids because the only people you get to be friends with are the maids. You know, my maids, brown, yeah, of course, exploiting brown people, but from Nepal, school teacher, me and him got to be friends. Brilliant guy. Brilliant. We talked. He says, you know, I came to the United States looking for a better dream. I got disillusioned. Bought a house in 2005. It's worth half what I paid for. I wish I would have never left. He says, yeah, the American dream is not the American dream anymore. This is the American dream. Me laying here dying. I would tell my nurses every day, everybody, this is like being on death row for a crime I did not commit. Literally. Except prison has to have better food than this. They finally started to wean me on Boost. Nurses saying, don't worry, Boost Plus, 4 of them a day. Puke them up, drink them, puke them up. That's how I lived for a long, long time because my bowel was so tore up because of malpractice. Moron doctors. One of them, a Japanese doctor, half Japanese, told me there was nothing wrong with me. Sent me home. I ever see that guy? I ever see that guy. I'm going to sue him. Oh, yeah. The CAT scan came clear. I got to see it Monday for the first time. We got to look at it. Wow. Not a dot in it. I saw the before and afters in HD. The technology is incredible. A miraculous turnaround. My daughter says, I've never seen anything like it. Celeste, the secretary, I've been there for decades. Says, Kevin, I prepared your paperwork when you went in. I thought you'd be dead within days. You know, we ranked you as a red 10. That's how they rank them. She says, I've never seen a 10 walk out of here in my entire career. You know, it's amazing. I fought like hell because I didn't want to die. This Fukushima fight, a lot of it's been because I wanted to live. I want my grandkids to live. I want my children to live. Audie Murphy, when they gave him all them medals and wrapped him up, he says, what are you talking about? I wasn't fighting for no fucking flag. I was fighting for my family's farm. My family. That's what I'm fighting for. I watched my father die. I die. You think I want to watch my grandchildren go through this? So many people. Do you think I want to? All my friends. Paul, Carla, Dana. You know, people on this YouTube site, people don't realize how many people had AML will follow along my videos every day. People have no idea and realize how many of them are gone. And I look back at their comments. This is a fight from hell. You know, and the sad thing is, Uncle Tom Obama, his mom was a downwinder. His mother died very young of breast cancer in Kansas. Now, we know the 350-air test in Utah. They would wait till the wind was blowing out across. Richard Miller, who I knew. He's incredible. Carol Gallagher's alive and well, by the way. American Ground Zero, brilliant book. Look at that map in her book of Richard Miller's. When he went in with their test and watched what rained the next day, some of the highest leukemia rates after the bombs are in places like upstate New York and Michigan because it's where it rains the next day. Oh, just like Fukushima. The wind was blowing out the first 6 days. Jacko and those guys, I listened to their tapes on day 3. Somebody stole them and leaked them to me. I had stuff before anybody had it. I had stuff out of Japan that would blow people because I was the only one reporting it. Kathy Iwan can confirm all this down there. She was trapped in Japan. It was my reports they were getting. And my reports, I look back on it, how accurate I was, how intense I was, how acute I was. Historical on Balco. It's amazing to me the postured and groomed masses of the media and the sheeple who go along. And they just throw in whatever Fox News still feeds us. We'll go down to the Bundy Ranch and throw in with a pedophile. A government mooch who mooches off a leash, who's ranging his cattle on radioactive land. And they're all one of them. It's amazing to me, still, they wait for the so-called mainstream media to give them confirmation. And they do. They hate them, they'll badmouth them, they're still waiting for CNN to confirm Fukushima's in the Pacific. Up and down the coast of the United States, hundreds across the United States. Federally funded university marine biology departments with thousands of employees. There are tens of thousands of so-called marine biologists in this country. The mighty Blue Pacific. We're talking well over 3 years. Not one single marine biology department has released any data saying yay or nay out of the Pacific Ocean. Not one. The greatest PhD, the greatest master thesis opportunity in ecological history. Not one. Is that I'm a stats professor. That is statistically impossible. Google. It is impossible. It is impossible. Why? Why? They have the data. I've read my data from Berkeley that was leaked out to me. The early studies, the international team that was there June of 2011. How many times have I read it? Their exact words, their conclusion. I had it even before they wrote their conclusion. Now I have the conclusion. I read it online hundreds of times. The international team, yeah, there was international teams in the waters over there, 2011, including the University of Arizona participated in it. She won't comment because they get threatened. They'll pull their funding. The false freaking equity in their house will come tumbling down. We're tied to our real estate. The California Medical Association comes out. We want the food test, and then they back out when they get a talk to. Say, hey, dumb fucker, you're tied to your real estate value. Your balance sheet's showing you have $7 million worth of real estate value when, in reality, you have $2 million. The truth comes out, you're bankrupt. Don't you understand it? You're broke. You're done. Hasta la vista. That's San Francisco. Oh, they're in a bubble, their equity bubble, which is a freaking lie. It's a fucking lie. I'm going to be an ultra-competitive neo-freaking-con. Populism gone amok. It's a lie. Hairspray masquerade party. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Wealth is not money. I learned that through this battle. For not one report to come out of the Pacific is statistically impossible. Statistically impossible. The study says 25 miles out, 40 kilometers out, 300 meters down into the column, 3 samples were pulled. One had radioisotopes, Pu-239, Pu-240, plutonium, cesium, strontium. One had 3 times the background. Now, the background levels are what's already in the ocean from the Bikini Atoll bombs, which are horrible. It never goes away. The second study said 50 times. The third sample, 1,000 times. The conclusion that it's already into the water column. June 2011. It's been dumping into the Pacific the entire time. Pacific genocide, very, very, very real. Some people think, Stegner, if you think the Germans invented genocide, you know nothing about the American West. You know nothing about the Pacific Ocean. Will it kill all creatures and all species? Let's hope not. But it's already killing. We had a famous sea lion here in Utah 2 summers ago. Said the zookeeper at Fogo Zoo, said it just in Salt Lake. Really famous. One of the kids' favorite pets. It had been hit by a prop in California and it was blind. One of the favorite pets. Zookeeper said he just went in one day, wouldn't eat the next day. 6 days, dead. Opened up biopsy, AML leukemia. The sea lions had an acute episode. The 2-legged beer drinking mammals had an episode. Here, I was one of them. I look back on it as we see the mapping now done by France. It said the Rocky Mountain region here got hit the hardest because it's where it rains. It's where it went. Richard Miller, Under the Cloud. Read it. It's a brilliant. He spent his whole life. We have the atomic veteran studies. We know that they pushed those things across the plains of Oklahoma, across the plains of Kansas. Barack Obama's mother died very young. We know factually that nuclear fallout, people say, low levels. That is such a lie. It's generational arrogance because everyone thinks, I can't get it. That's other people that get cancer. And I have a cure for cancer. I can smoke some weed. All right. Yeah, but it happens like this. I see it over and over. I see ideologues in that hospital over and over. I was head of our support group. By the time it hits you and mows you down, you're going into this surreal state. You don't even know what's hit you. Then you're dead. By the time you even say, hey, I was wrong, I shouldn't have been spewing that. What an arrogant asshole I was. I can't believe it. You don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. you're dead. It kills you fast, aggressively. And when you're under the treatment and you're fighting for your life, you go into a freaking survival mode. That's where I've been. My YouTube site, can it possibly be as intense going forward as it's been? It's impossible. My mind went into a focus of intensity that I look back now, the last 30 months, I'm like, wow. Oh, my. Wow. Oh, here comes my little grandson back again. We're outside. He's way over there in the park, man, playing, so got to watch my language now. Here he comes. He's over there playing on the bleachers in the park. Beautiful day here on the mighty Wasatch. Eating right? Yeah. Keeping the immune system bolstered? Absolutely. Iodine tablets are a joke. I can tell you that right now. Iodine tablets, what it will do, will flood the thyroid. Now, we know this. I'm Utah. We call it the Utah smiley face. The Chernobyl necklace is my puncture wound in my side, my guts. They drug that thing out. A young man who lives in the Bay Area, I hope he comes to our gig in San Francisco, calls it the Fukushima fish hook. I love that. Yeah, it looks like a bullet wound in me. It looks like I've been shot. Yeah, I kind of have been shot. I got scars all over my back hips where they dig into your freaking hips and go down in there. I got burn tissues gone up and down the right outsides of my legs, in my feet. But I've seen it takes a long time. People don't understand. I've had arguments with doctors and, well, YouTubers and these radicals about my diet. My diet is very, very different than a cancer victim, than pre-cancer. I had heavy RCM squirt in my body. I mean, it's fucking rat poison. It takes at least 3 years to get that out of your body. I have to maintain a complete different freaking diet than anyone to recover. I've hiked these freaking beautiful, mighty Wasatch Mountains 6 miles straight uphill with a central line, running to the ETM who hauled me to the hospital tonight up there at Waterfall Canyon. So I never thought I'd see you again, Kevin. I mean, the circles have been amazing. The synchronicity has been incredible. The fight has been the good fight. It has been epic. It has been purity. I've learned something about being on the cross as he talked about purity, as that whole thesis, Jesus Christ, has been completely hijacked. Everybody, the evangelicals, the Mormons, they are the opposite of the evangelicals, the opposite. I think when you're going through the process, the death process, when you go through the death process, it becomes a purity process, and you get to go through this with chemo, and I've watched it. And the people that it seems to take, it really seems to be the good. I've seen Paul, as I said with him, he prepped himself. As he was dying, he spent time calming me down. Incredible physical condition. And a lot of marquee athletes get leukemia. My theory is because they go to southern Utah and train, and they're breathing in so deeply. Outside the Lines, who did the beautiful documentary on Pat Tillman, also did the beautiful documentary on why are so many triathletes dying. Well, they swim in the water. They're breathing in these mountains, in the red dust. You know, finally the Tribune come out with a study, a newspaper article, and they don't talk about it here. The number one industry here, the two number one industries in Utah, one, cancer treatment, two, tourism. Moab, uranium tailings, hot water. She's contacted me several times to do that. That's a great documentary, by the way. The tailings, but it's so much more than that. The half-life plutonium is 24,500 years, 350 open-air tests. Yet people will go there to train, ride their bicycles without a mask on, whatever, and then they wonder. I mean, we're talking about a guy who won Ironman died in our hospital. I mean, I've seen incredible physical, because they're training so hard and they're breathing in. They're swimming in that contaminated water. It's getting into their body. Now, hiding in your basement, the answer? Hell no, the opposite. Look how I've done it. I think the only way you can fight, you go toe-to-toe, you go face-to-face, and you fight the fucking bully. Our hospital advertises that way. You fight the bully. Leukemia, your worst nightmare. That's their advertising. Oh, yeah, they saved my life. The nurses, I watched the purity. I watched the fight. I watched these people as they went. I'm not as pure as they are. I'm not as forgiving as they are. People say, you an eye for an eye guy? No, I'm a 10 eyes for an eye guy. Fuckers want to kill me. Oh, curse the spite that I was ever born to set this right. Yeah, this is the country and western version of Hamlet. They fucking want to murder my father? Fuck them. Decision was made out of Berkeley. By Teller, the military industrialized complex. It was not Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was anti-nuclear. Einstein was anti-nuclear. Einstein said the worst thing that he ever did was write that letter to FDR. He was coaxed into it, telling the Germans how the Germans didn't have it. Worst thing that ever happened to him, he said. You don't, and FDR believed him? Oh, hell yeah, the most famous man in the world at the time. What's his famous quote? Creativity is stronger than knowledge. Oh boy, they're creative in that hospital. They debate. They listen to you. My doctors will tell you straight up, Kevin, you're teaching us on this. You're the playbook. We're tracking this. When I go in there, I'll be in there again this afternoon. When I go in there, they believe people to take notes. They know what I eat, when I eat it. They know where I go. They know how I think. They know what I like. They know every single thing since I was born about me. Because they're trying to build a playbook on De Nouveau. And it's so important. It's so important people to understand leukemia can present in tumors. Most oncologists don't know that. That's why. And the misdiagnosis immediately, and they'll, well, what do these doctors want to do? Cut and gut, cut and gut. The worst possible thing you can possibly have done on leukemia tumor is surgery. The worst. One, seize it. Like little freaking spiders in a cocoon, and you let them loose. They may already be loose. It only takes one killer cell to go rogue up into your brain. They like to hide in your brain stem. They like to hide in your spine. They lumbar puncture and inject chemo into your lower spine. They're tricky. They're sneaky. They're evil, like the nuclear cartel. But the bigger thing is this. When they open you and then they start messing around with that tumor to find out what it is after they've cut it out, they're like, oh, no. Oh, no. It's a leukemia tumor, and they're extremely aggressive, extremely hardcore. They have to chemo you now because you're going to be dead in days. The chemo takes your neutrophils to zero. That's your immune system. You can't heal from the surgery. So almost killed Brian. I'm going to get him on my radio show. He's an amazing guy. So the point is this. You have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own. And keeping your immune system both, yeah, it's a big part of it. My daughter says so much of it is so much more than that. People just think of it. I think of Steve Jobs all the time, Steve Chinese Jobs. I knew him. I used to be a semiconductor analyst. I used to go to their conference calls. He was a prick, but he was militant his whole life. He used to play in that HP's freaking garage, Hewlett or Packard, I can't remember. He lived right by him. He was an orphan child, adopted. He'd play with them computer. I think he subconsciously knew someday. He was so militant his whole life. He was vegan. He was diet. He wouldn't even take a freaking bath because he was afraid of the freaking water. He knew the water was contaminated in Marin County, San Francisco, where we're going. We'll be on the ocean beach between stairwell 15 and 20. We're going to meet there, and we're going to just hug and talk and communicate and say our poetry. The poetry of anger, the poetry of peace, the poetry of love, whatever your poetry is. It is the Pacific Ocean that generations lived in unison with, that worship the mighty Blue Lady. Not all of us are participating in its murder. Not all of us. Just most. As it was said and said and said and said, oh, no, radiation's not that bad. Low-level radiation, it's accumulative, and it's not low-level. Where does anybody get off? This is fucking low-level. Low-level when you go through the airport? Yeah. Low-level when you're in the airplane? Yeah. Low-level when you have a CT scan? Yeah. Low-level? Well, CAT scans aren't low-level. I always opt out. Radiation's very different in the air. Radiation from a triple meltdown, which is really 6 meltdowns. 6. Number 4 cracked immediately, and I like these guys, Plumgate and these guys, which is you go back, I was using the word Plumgate, Newgate, a fucking day 2, 3. I didn't wait no fucking FOIA documents. You go back and watch all my other videos, every fucking day doing them. The accuracy is incredible. Is Pandorans versus the Cassandrans? Yeah. I've been Cassandra-like in a very incredible, intense way. My path, my father being nuked to death, living in Utah, knowing Stegner, knowing Abby, all these incredible environmentals, living on this mighty, beautiful Wasatch in these beautiful freaking peaks and some of the most, probably the most pristine landscapes on the face of the earth. Living in a culture of liars that are born to lie from birth, Mormons. They're taught to go on Mormon missions and freaking wear hairspray and lie, to polish and groom and rob little old ladies. You don't think I know the fucking dynamic? I knew it. I was given leukemia before I was born. Most likely. Steve Jobs knew it. He knew it. He knew it. And this whole thesis, I was in the hospital I was reading Isaacson's books. I was watching when the doctor told me what I had when she finally come in. I was watching Isaacson's interview on the television in the emergency room. Isaacson says, "Oh, he should have had the surgery." Bull fucking shit. He bought 6 years with pancreatic cancer. Who does that? No one. No one. One of my doctors was one of Steve Jobs' doctors. He did think he was going to be saved. He had multiple transplants. All your money can't in another minute save. It doesn't matter. You can be as militant as you want, but it's much more than that. It is much more than that. I believe it is the physicality, a lot of it. You know, yeah, you have to be physically strong, mentally tough, but luck falls so much into it. You have to be your own advocate, and hopefully you can land with an oncologist who cares about you. Somebody who actually wants you to live, because these fuckers don't care. The culture of death. That's the problem. They don't give a fuck. They're all fucking, you know, cut and gut, making 3,000, 5,000 FB of surgery, doing 5 a day of them. You know, my house here, my house there, trying to keep up with the fucking other doctors, and the fucking ultra neo-competitive popism got them mucked. Warhol was mocking it then. Sam Balco, popism fucking died, 3/11/11. This is art? Oh, fuck yeah. As fucking great artists fucking always show the map. I go clear back to Michelangelo. Michelangelo hated Da Vinci. Much younger. He was the opposite. He tried to be exactly the opposite. Da Vinci, feminine, delicate painter. Was Da Vinci a pedophile? Most likely. You know, he had Giacomo with him at, 8 years old? Giacomo called him his master. Stayed with his own. Da Vinci's own words. His own words. He's a liar and a thief. Why does he keep him around? Michelangelo hated the fucker. Michelangelo painted the nudes, freaking everything, the diaper paintings, the panty painters. That Pope died, the new Pope come on, the neoconservative was trying just like this, just like W and his fucking posse of fucking neocon fucking lunatics who should be hung. Cheney, Rumsfeld, the whole herd of them, sitting back there for fucking decades. The old fucking Nixon's fucking posse who fucking taught him how to cheat and fucking lie. And it's just gone on. Obama, status quo. Da Vinci lived in fear 30 years. This is heresy trials, mass murdering people. He was writing a newsletter out of fucking his house secretly. That Pope wanted whoever was writing that thing dead. He knew if they find it, they would kill him. I think my favorite story, he hated Da Vinci. He would spit on Da Vinci when he seen him on the sidewalk. And since he was an old man, he was physical. He was a plaster. Like my Hawking trial, my greatest hope is to go back with that Hawking trial. Michelangelo said it. Not with drywall mud that sticks to the hawk, cement. Slick. I had my own recipes. My secret sauce. 10,000 jobs across this Wasatch with this beautiful pure white sand out of these beautiful warped pits. I have scars all over my body from it. My grandpa owned those pits. Pure white sand from the ancient Lake Bonneville. Go across those walls. Michelangelo said, a guy using a Hawking trowel is much more sophisticated than even the violin. It is the greatest form of art because it has physical. He had muscles. When he carved up those statues, they had muscles. They were moving. He knew it was about more than just the mind. It was the body. It was the mind, the soul, and the body living in symphony. He got it. He knew that the church were fucking hijacked, and it was all about fucking control and fucking murder and fucking rape. He knew it. They wanted him dead. They painted over a lot of his paintings. When he died, they tried to rewrite his path in history, and that's, we're not going to let them do that this time. We're not going to let them make this Chernobyl, because we had YouTube, and Jan, freaking Christina, so many of us. We told this in detail, and people are going to be able to go back and look at it in detail. When he died, they had his body. They were going to rewrite his body, do what they do, entomb it, enshrine it, saint it, create their own history. His nephew, who was named Leonardo, by the way, not that Leonardo, snuck in there, stole that body, packed it by mule and on his shoulders, back to Florence for the family, and would refuse to let them rewrite history. Refuse them to me. That's what they're doing right now in Fukushima, Japan. That's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to fucking record history. Napoleon himself, I love the hand in his fucking shirt. Oh, when they're kids, they touch it, it's heartburn. That's the Mason symbol. History is nothing but a pack of lies everybody agrees to agree on. Not this time. Not this time. Not with the technology we exist today. We told it in fucking detail. Plenty of people have told it in detail. And they try to rewrite history. They try to freaking posture just like Bush and fucking Cheney and your fucking war cartel and the lead up. Fucking the CIA crime family. The fucking War Prescott Bush fucking crime family. Oh, Saddam. Bin Laden did 9/11. No, he didn't. Didn't have a fucking thing to do with it. Oh, we're going to Afghanistan to get Bin Laden. No, we're not. No, we're not. That's where they try to No, they're not. Michael Hastings trying to set it straight. Oh, no, they kill him. Oh, Pat Tillman's going to set it straight. Oh, no, take him out. That's what they're doing in Fukushima, Japan. Fucking, you think about it. Fascism on Balco. They're taking every single person who tweets, who talks about, who does one single thing out of Japan. Now, you think about this. That's America, the United States of nuclearism. It is illegal. They're putting people in prison. I would get thousands of emails, hundreds a day of emails. There's plenty of people who can confirm this. Did radio shows in Tokyo. September 26, 2012. No more. I listened to the fucking transcripts. I listened to the hearings. There was prosecution going on over there. Just like they're over there trying to prop up the nuclear cartel behind closed doors. They'll never restart those nuclear reactors in Japan. And if they do, there'll be a little bit trickle and then it won't happen. Fukushima's ongoing. This is a posture and groom dog and pony show for the rest of the world. Oh, see, it wasn't that bad in Japan. Now you think about this. Millions protesting in Japan. Millions. Some of the greatest protests in human history. Do you ever see any of it on the news? You see CNN, ABC, CBS, any of them? Any of them? Even show a fucking video the whole time? No. Why? Black and yellow journalistic freaking, it's sickening. It's unbelievable. I'm blown away. But there's a counter. Now, I think back, a lot of people blew back on me because of my intense language and my intense ways and the way I blew up. I look back on it, I did it exactly right. I was acute like it was acute. I'm not acute anymore, but that situation is very acute. Everybody says, oh, it's one shake away. It's one earthquake. No. From a catastrophe? No. It is a catastrophe. Fukushima is a catastrophe. A major, mega catastrophe. It is genocide in the greatest food basket on this globe. The mighty Pacific is the greatest supplier of food. People live off of it. I mean, it is everything. The marine layer rolls in. Culture's so grotesque. I mean, Warhol called it. He called it. He was mocking all of culture then. Orwell wouldn't have believed this. Sagan wouldn't have believed this. Everybody. And the counterculturalist movement has been totally hijacked. The Koch brothers freaking hijacked it. Stole the fuel out of the energy. Go get a gun. Buy some gold. Why? Why? Did you ever notice that every answer they have costs you money? Oh, sell your Dow at $6,500 and go buy gold at freaking $1,500. Buy silver. Yeah, if you bought gold and silver, if you bought gold at $300, good move. But a lot of people listen to that Operation Foxconn, the co-op. Everything they go in. They go in. It's all knee-jerk. It's emotional. It has nothing to do. You can't step back and view by the broader perspective on the truth. Yeah, we know the BLM's corrupt. Yeah, we know all government agencies are corrupt. But throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you're going to allow a pedophile, Warren Jeffs? You're going to throw in with him? Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. You're going to throw in with these people? Wow. It's not that black and white. It's not. It's dynamic. It's like nuclear fallout. Oh, low-level radiation won't hurt you. Oh, really? It's accumulative. It builds up. You're born with it. Every single one of you. You could go in right now, and you could have a bone marrow biopsy, especially a young person. And they'll dig it out. They can show you. Chernobyl, Fukushima, the open-air Nevada test, the bikini bomb, it's already in you. Einstein was asked this many, many, many times, over and over and over. Will the human genome fight back? Yeah, but it will take many, many generations to fight back. And this will cue. Now, you think about this. This is the CDC themselves, the liars themselves, is calling the cancer a pandemic now, soon to be an epidemic. Young women under the ages of 40 years old, 85% of them will get cancer in their life. Now, if that's a pandemic, that's a pandemic. Perfectly correlated with nuclear fallout. So you think, oh, it's okay. I hear people all the time, oh, I just accept I'm going to get cancer. There's a cure for cancer. No, there's not. No, there's not. You know how many people freaking right here die a day? Right here, a day. How many people die a day? Oh, that's because they didn't do it right. They didn't. I've watched it. Bullshit. They do everything right. So many. It's random. I call it the reverse lottery. A lot of them were given to you before you were even born. They don't even know you were given them. Your fathers were nuked in the Nevada test site. 60,000 Army personnel. 40,000, just like Mike Lee, that lying scum, tells me. Right in front of my father was a downwinder. I prepped him for that. You know I prepped him for that interview. I could have played I Got You. Did you know he didn't even know what Fukushima was? I prepped his aide. She spent an hour with him in the morning. She says, Kevin's going to be the first one up here. He's going to ask you about Fukushima. And he told me, my father's a downwinder. He's worse than Obama. Disrespect for his own dead father. Really? He told me that he would get a hold of Wyden and Boxer's office. He doesn't know that I have serious connections with Wyden and Boxer's office. They've been told to shut up, Wyden and Boxer? Oh, yeah. I know that right from the horse's mouth. You know, she's starting to go after NRC, Alice McFarland. Did he get with him? No, he lied to me right on camera. When his father died very young of leukemia. What, you think that just went away in Utah? Oh, it's like these two professors here at this scumbag university I used to teach at. Weber State's turned into a piece of shit. University of Utah's a joke. They've all been captured. You're really going to teach downwinders in past tense. When half-life of plutonium is 24,005 years, there's more cancer now than there was freaking a year after the bombs, 5 years after the bombs, 10 years. There's more now per capita, much more. It's bioaccumulating. People say it's a low level. Are you kidding? It all piles in. It all piles on, and it kills people. It's autism. It's MS. Perfectly correlated. And this isn't just commentary. This is documented fact. We have the data from Chernobyl. Oh, they sequestered that. You got to realize what I'm up against. I'm up against with no money, with no funding, with nothing. No publicists, no nothing. Taking on the biggest PR propaganda machine in world history. The nuclear cartel is funded by unlimited sources, by you, the taxpayer, under the Price-Anderson Act. Propaganda machine, the IAEA, the UN, the nuclear cartel, the CMA, all of them, the NRC. Hundreds of trillions of dollars against freaking guys like us. I mean, David versus Goliath? Oh, boy. As David reached into his bag, and he flung the stone. And the stone embedded in his head. And he fell to the ground. Oh, I'm going to fling the fucking stone. I'm going to hit this fucking nuclear cartel right between their fucking eyes. And they're going to fall to their fucking death. And when their fucking soul and their spirit gets to retake its path, life is a test. I've learned that through the purity, through watching all these people die, watching my father be loading the body back, watching them all. They're going to get their fucking turn. Einstein, we know the human body is energy. I spent my whole life trying to tie quantum physics into religion. Couldn't do it. The human mind can't comprehend it. But he says, I proved one thing. I proved that the human mind and the human body is full of energy. I also proved that energy never ceases to exist. Well, let's see where your fucking energy goes. All you black and yellow journalistic, my belief is that your soul is going to be sucked into a black hole. And all you people that throw in with pedophiles and you ideologues and arrogance and false bravado who say this, that, and the other thing, oh, I'm going to heaven just because I walk into a church and attended church and my pastor, my bishop, my priest told me, oh, no, you're not. Bear false witness. That's what you're doing, every one of you, bearing false witness. Love them, for they know not what they do. Thou shalt not kill. What they've done to Jesus, you look at these pictures. Ackerman did a really great video putting up this picture. Jesus, really? The Mormons on YouTube on Easter did a big thing across YouTube showing Jesus Christ with blue eyes, white, short hair. He was not white. He was not white. He was a radical. He was a radical. He was a human rights activist. Purity. Purity. Stand tuned. I'm going to go chase down this little guy. He's clear across the park here. Climbing a tree. I'm going to go climb a tree. Thanks, you guys.
All hands on deck. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. All nuclear fighters. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. All hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Plumgate, 311,